Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday to you all. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're hanging in there. Hope you had a good weekend. Was going to go live yesterday, but got a couple bruised ribs. That's normal, right? That happens to 40-year-old men, but it happens. But I just want to say what's up, and we are live in the flesh to everybody over on YouTube, Pilled, and Rumble. Remember, this Friday is, in fact, Beyond the Headlines coming back. So get stoked on that. I will be dropping links on that later on in the week, filling you guys in a little bit more. We're working on the show, so just know that's going to be taking place. I got my co-host with me every Tuesday, sometimes on Thursday. Brett Collins, what's up?
What's going on? How you doing? Bruised ribs.
How you doing?
What, do you get tackled by a bear?
Yeah, I guess you could say. Yeah, just struggling a little bit, but
yeah, the roof, let me tell you, the roof isn't like the turnbuckle in WrestleMania. So when you jump off and you try to land on somebody, superfly them, it's not always going to be as cushiony as, Schnucka.
I met him.
Really? You met him?
Met him last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was me and my brother met him. It was pretty cool.
My brother's big into. He was big, Hulk Hogan, all that stuff. I mean, we watched it in the '80s and stuff and '70s. Yeah. I remember
that's when it was pure.
Yeah, like they had all these leagues: the NWO, the AWA or AWO, and then the WWF, and they had all these different leagues and stuff. Some of the older ones were great. Some of the older ones. Yeah, Tito Santana. Remember that guy? Bret the Hitman Hart. What a cool name that was.
Oh, what top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
We got a lot to get to. Guys, again, Cash App, you guys have been hitting that up. I really do appreciate it. That is # stream donation 17. Also, merch. True Reporting merch is out there. Guys, hit that notification bell on YouTube, on Pilled, everything, guys. Would really appreciate it. And, I'm just thankful you guys are here, and I hope you, again, had a very good weekend. So let's go ahead.
Did they vote on the Epstein thing? Did they vote on the Epstein thing?
I don't think it's come out
did.
Yet.
I think they voted in the House, and they passed it 427, and there was one no. It was Clay Higgins from Louisiana. And good for Clay Higgins. You know why I say that? Because this whole thing is fugazi. It's all a ruse. All these broads that were outside the Capitol with MTG and Ro Khanna and Massey, they were all paid out, okay? They were all paid out. And whether they were trafficked or what have you, you got your money. The NDAs were signed. Gloria Allred's daughter and law firm was involved with this. And you want to stand next to MTG so she can read out the names because you're not allowed to because you signed the NDAs. What bunch of bullshit, hypocrisy, opportunism. It's garbage. And I don't feel sorry for any of these broads. They all got paid out. What is it that you want? I mean, I can whip out the violin and play some more stuff. All right? Please. You had opportunities to leave, and you chose not to. And now you went back, you got paid. Why don't you go after the estate from Jeffrey Epstein then? You're not going to do it because it's already been settled. All this stuff is theatrical BS, and I'm sick of it. I'm just so sick of this, and I don't believe any single one of them because I know they were paid, and they were attacking President Trump like it's his fault. This whole thing was a setup and a hit job, and good for Clay Higgins for voting no. If I was in the House, I would have voted no too. Now it's going to go to the Senate. They're going to put poison pills in there in this, and when it goes back up to the House, it's going to blow up, and you're not going to get anything. You heard Speaker Johnson today. He comes out and says what?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. I didn't see what we were covering today.
Yeah, no. But I have, I
Gotcha.
I got some gear to do that. But I don't want to start off with that just as of yet. I want to start off with this, and I know a lot of people are talking about it with a lot of the internet going down, and there's a lot of people that are suspecting, as you can see for the title of the show, is this to block what's to come out of Epstein and Trump and all this kind of stuff? I genuinely don't believe that. So what has happened is a major internet outage has taken place. Here's what we know. What happened? Cloudflare, a major internet infrastructure company, experienced a significant outage affecting various websites and services worldwide. Who was involved? Cloudflare is a customers such as X, formerly Twitter, OpenAI, Bet365, Leagues of Legends, and impacted users globally, not just here in the United States, but everywhere. The outage began on the morning of this morning, took place, and affected websites and services worldwide. So now we can, you're not seeing anyone talk about this, which took place the other day. And I believe we talked about it on the show. I don't know if Brett was on that show, but we talked about it maybe about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, about all of that solar activity that was supposed to be coming with solar flares, all that kind of stuff. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe it's not Epstein. Maybe it's the solar activity. I don't know. And you got this thing, this Atlas, whatever, flying around up there. Who knows what that is as well. But again, could we blame it on anything and point fingers to anything and everything? Absolutely. It really depends on what side you're on, whether you're on the left or you're on the right. Whatever.
Well, this was Cloudflare. So, I mean, this hit a bunch of stuff. I don't think this was the Amazon thing where the Amazon attack. It was a little bit different because I was up in the morning, really, I was about up around 7, and I just got up and I was looking, and then nothing was working. Truth was down, X was down, and then all my apps for like where I go and find research, where I go through, like all the apps, like let's just say Citizen Free Press as an example. That whole app was down, Cloudflare, all National Post was down, all these different things. Daily Signal was down, you name it. Then I was on Yandex. Yandex was operational with certain things if you were using Yandex, because that's off this. So is it just domestic? It seemed like it was a lot of domestic stuff going on. I'm not really sure per se that we could say it was a solar flare, but I think from your previous point to suggest that this was a test to see if they could pull it down in case the Epstein stuff or this is going to come out. I'm wondering if they were testing this in some way, or it could have just been a hack. I mean,
when you hear Epstein, that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could point to 3 or 4 things that are taking place. I don't know which one it is, but, we're just starting off with that, just seeing, what could be taking place with Cloudflare. So just understand that, guys, that, a lot of prominent businesses were detached. It just goes to show you that all of this stuff is not secure. If this was a hack, if this was a solar activity, if this was deep state operations or something like that, or our own government pulling these things down, it just goes to show you nothing is protected. And that is a little bit unnerving. We have some people out there talking, Brett. Now, let's try. And I'm trying right now, guys, to get on X. I still have no response from X. I mean, you remember back in the day, I think I had like 180,000 subscribers or followers on X. I have put in for the review, the appeal, so hopefully they get back to me soon. I did that 4 days ago as of today, so we'll see what takes place. I know you're not a fan of this lady, but I'm just going to read this out loud. This came out yesterday about 5 o'clock, and it says Bill and Hillary Clinton are refusing to appear before House oversight for their depositions regarding the Jeffrey Epstein, just regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Notice how House Democrats suddenly have nothing to say about it. Well, no, I mean, they're overlords when it comes to Hillary Clinton. I've always said a high priestess, allegedly, for the, we'll just say a cult or something like that. If you guys get my drift. But again, it is very interesting when they refuse to appear before the Oversight Committee, which never, ever gets anything done. Would it have been interesting to watch? I think all eyes and ears would have been on that just to see how they operate for sure. I'll go into this as well. Jeffrey Epstein's brother, FBI is scrubbing Republican names from the files. Patel is on this. It says here that Mark Epstein, the brother of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, accused FBI Director Kash Patel participating in a cover-up of the files relating to his brother's death and client list, Mark Epstein. Is there a video on this? Yes. Let's just take a listen to one of the worst mustaches I've ever seen. Let's go.
This back and forth with Jeffrey, where he tells you that Bannon is with him, and you say, oh, great, ask him if Putin still has photos of Donnie T, I'm assuming President Trump, with blowing, which we all know what that means, Bubba.
Let me stop you here. I'm not discussing that email. This is a private email between Jeffrey and myself. There's two brothers talking. It's nobody's business what we wrote. The only thing I responded to is because people got crazy with the Bubba reference and they tried to pin it on Clinton. So I made a public statement that it was not any reference to Bill Clinton. I like Bill Clinton, and I'm sorry for him that he had to go through that. But the email had nothing to do with Clinton, and that's my last word on that email. What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things and the reason for the flip is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source. And my main...
Okay, so we can say this. I don't know what Chris Cuomo is about to say, but saying that a pretty good source leads me to believe that this isn't a very good source. Now, you could go and think about it that way, or you could think about, and the first thing that comes to mind when you think about Bill Clinton, he's like, I'm, good friends with Bill Clinton, blah, blah, blah. He's a good guy, whatever. He likes broads, all these sorts of things. The blue dress portrait. What in God's name is that? That really goes over the heads. If you showed that to normies or you showed that to anyone, they'd be like, what are you, a conspiracy theorist? What is this? Why would you even show me this? This is weird. I don't understand it. Hey, I mean, you could easily put two and two together, and these people are freaky. It's not like this is out of their realm or anything like that. I got to be careful with my words because of BoostTube. But I'm just letting you know, when you start hearing about blowing and we can assume what that means. And then I, go back and see these pictures released of Bill Clinton in a blue dress wearing red high heels and pointing at the camera. What is that? Is that a self-portrait, or did somebody just draw that? Did that even really happen? I don't know. I'm just looking at what I saw, and I'm just showing you guys and talking to you about it. So again, I'll let this play out, then I will get to Brett. 43 seconds left before we go into the other ones.
Look, do you believe that? Do you believe? Hold on, Mark, hold on.
Oh, I didn't even know I thought this was just a recording. I didn't know he was actually talking to him. Okay.
Two things. One,
if
you don't want to talk about it,
I don't have.
All right, I obviously you believe it. You just said it, but all right. But Mark, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question.
Jeffrey did not commit suicide. That's my focus. I don't care about the files. Jeffrey's dead. So I don't care of the implications of the files. That's other people's problems. My brother did not commit suicide, and we're finding more information to prove that he didn't commit suicide. So the question becomes, who killed him? Well, who had him killed?
We'll stop there. You heard it right in your face. Just happened. He's saying it. He's been saying that. Let's be careful what we say on BoostTube. But again, he's saying that. Think about the picture. Think about the accusations. Go ahead, Brett. We'll start there. We have another video after this as well. When it comes to Jeff,
specifically about getting back to Anna Paulina Luna that you had put up there.
Okay, I can go.
They
back
subpoenaed
to
against the Clintons. They subpoenaed the Clintons, and this is not the first time they subpoenaed the Clintons to come in and testify. They were supposed to come and testify to Comer's oversight back in late August and September, and they refused that as well regarding Epstein and all these other things. And that was shut down, and now all this stuff is going to come out. So in some way, are they going to refuse it again? Probably, unless you get the Sergeant Arms or the Marshal Service to come out there. Good luck with that. I don't see them happening. I don't see that coming out at all. I think in some way that when you really break this down about the Clintons and stuff, I think the closer we get to this, the more likely we're going to see flies dropping. I think so. The other thing is with Epstein. I was asking on the show and stuff. A lot of people think that he's still alive. A lot of people think that, and that if he wasn't suicided per se, then he's
Unalived.
alive. Yeah, unalive in some way. I mean, now the people are saying that they think he's alive and he's a cooperating witness, and they were able to sneak him out of there, and it was all convenient. I don't know one thing or another about that. I don't believe that he unalived himself. Period. The end. That's as far as I will go with this. Whether he's alive or not, and cooperating witness and stuff, you got me. All these other things per se, how this plays in and stuff. I think that President Trump has pigeonholed, has grouped in the House and the Senate. The Democrats have basically been forced into this position. A lot of people think there's a lot of KFAB going on with MTG, that she was being utilized to bring all these people in there in some way to get this vote. They finally got this vote. It's going to go to the Senate. And I said yesterday, keep in mind on what's going to happen with the Senate. Is there going to be any type of things, let's just say certain things they're going to put in there, so when it goes back to the House, it just basically dies in some way? Yeah, because there's some senators that are going to be on the hot seat because of their connection with Jeffrey Epstein. All right, so the question is, watch for that and see where this is going to go. And, I'll table that for now. But as for the conversation that he was saying here, was he referencing, the brother, was he referencing anything about that? Mark, was he referencing anything about Bill Clinton in some way? I go, well, I mean, I don't know if we're going to know the origins of the dress per se. We understand the of what it means, the meaning per se, and the meaning of George Bush sitting on some floor throwing paper airplanes at, these Lego blocks of looks like the Twin Towers. So I mean, whatever that is, and also MBS was here today at the White House. And then President Trump's like, I hope I'm your favorite president stuff. And he goes, yeah. He goes, who else was good? And he said, George Bush. How interesting. He did say that. So I thought that was kind of weird, knowing all this stuff was being put out simultaneously. So maybe we'll start to see this escalate in a lot of ways. I'm looking forward to all this stuff. And I'm glad that a lot of people are realizing the ruse and all the KFAB that's involved here, and it's all theatrics in some way. But President Trump is now got them into this position. And so whatever's going to come out of this, it's all going to be on them or all these other people. See, they're not going to subpoena Hollywood producers and actors to come up there, just like they're not going to get the Clintons to come in there to testify. Why? If you were the Clintons, why would you do that? You wouldn't do it. You would do closed door anyway, but you didn't show up for that one either. So, I mean, the idea that we're going to get some type of arrest and stuff. Larry Summers admitting today that I made a huge mistake. I'm not stepping down from my professorship at Harvard. I mean, come on. I mean, honestly, are you really going to think you're going to get arrest from these people in some way? A lot of these broads that were out there today already settled out. I was thinking, why isn't anybody discussing the idea of going after Mark Epstein and the estate that he oversees, presides over from his brother, Jeffrey, that passes to him? And the money that's being transferred out and in and out, where did that money go? Did it go to pay from these people, sign NDAs and shut your mouth? Good, most likely. So is this a circus, a sideshow? Yeah, I think this is much ado about nothing, realistically. I think the Justice Department investigating this, and I don't believe they're going to read the names. And I don't want to go too far with that because I know I want to say something about the speaker.
Okay. We'll definitely get into that for sure. So, let's get back in to this. I do want to say a giant thank you out there, as you guys can see. Thank you out there to Trump One with the cookie, Tia with the cookie, Tia with the can, Floricio with the EMP, hitting the goal for today already. Floricio, it's so good to see you. And I've been reaching out, seeing how you and your husband are a handful of times before we even got back on YouTube. And you said, hello, Patriot family. Thomas, sorry I haven't responded. Busy trying to manipulate my family's company out of the Bronx, where this POS Mandani will run the 5 boroughs of New York. So it's been challenging for many businesses moving out, and businesses are freaking out. Welcome back. Thank you so much, Floricio, and Silent Runner 17 with the cookie. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And especially to Floricio with that giant donation. I really do appreciate that. Tia coming at us with 300 gold pills as well. Thank you very much. When it comes to that, bigly, Floricio comes back, and I said, are you leaving New York City? Not leaving, just manipulating the address somehow. He will tax the crap out of the 5 boroughs. We live in Westchester, so we are not affected by this BS plan, but dealing with restaurants that will get hurt by him implementing defunding the police, high taxes, etc. Yeah, you're in the crosshairs of all of that. I mean, you know more than me, Floricio, but when it comes to the tax situation, if he's able to manipulate that, I mean, I'd pull my business for sure. I mean, you don't want to, but I would be, I would be kind of nervous about manipulating the address. That would kind of bother me. But again, it's so nice to see your name come through and all that kind of stuff. I hope you're all doing well. Everyone in the chat, I hope you're all doing well. But yeah, so I definitely want to get back into this. There's a 2-part clip here. So let's go into it, and I have some other stuff. We're going to get into Mike Johnson as well. So let's go ahead and do that now.
You don't think your brother killed himself on the Chris Cuomo project on my podcast? People can go check out that conversation. You know, the head of the FBI and his number 2, both of who used to suggest exactly what you are, says now that they've looked at everything, there is no proof that it was anything but suicide. Kash Patel,
right
Dan Bongino.
Stop right there. They didn't look at anything. There was never a suicide-capable a homicide-capable investigation done. They called it a suicide early on to stop the investigation. If you read the DOJ report, it's all about the screw-ups in the jails. Cameras not working, guards not doing their job. It doesn't address the issue of the cause of his death. And it was misrepresented as a suicide because they didn't want to investigate. And more information.
So you're accusing the head of the FBI in this administration of a cover-up?
Absolutely. He was the one who said in his testimony, you know it's suicide when you see one. I had to laugh. How many suicides has that jackass seen? Okay? He's not a doctor. He's not a pathologist. He never saw Jeffrey's body. He wasn't there, but he knows a suicide.
Well, he's certainly changed his story about it. But I want to ask you one other thing, okay?
Okay. We'll pick up there. Now, I know that we can go back to that Kash Patel, Joe Rogan interview. And everyone and their sister was like, what in God's name is this? And then you had Dan Bongino and Kash Patel being interviewed by Fox News, and everybody goes, what the hell is this? And now we're here. Where do we go? And what do you think is taking place? Because Jeffrey Epstein's been back in the news. It's never really left the news, but now we're back into it in the thicket of this scenario of what's being pushed down our gullets when it comes to Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother. Your thoughts on this, Brett? And again, well, I want to go on the record to say that I've always thought that Chris Cuomo was a little bit of a kind of a dummy. I don't want to get sued, but that's just my opinion. Go ahead.
Well, I'll say this, that I think that Mark Epstein may be correct in some way, because when Dr. Michael Baden did the post-autopsy, the post-mortem autopsy on him, when he was brought in to investigate, who also investigated the JFK assassination, how interesting, also looked at the part of the brain that was missing, and then the brain disappears. He did the autopsy on Epstein, and he said the hyoid bone, which is right up there, was damaged. And it looks like it was broken or damaged in a way that not of a hanging, but of someone choking you. And he went on record in saying that. And so it leads me to believe that what I can say for it, that it's most likely that he was unalived on purpose. Whether it was staged to get him out of there and to fake his death, that is completely other. And now if Bill Barr visited him the day before and then he goes unalive thereafter, the cameras go down. I mean, everything, whatever happened to the two, let's just say corrections officers that were supposedly fell asleep, all that stuff that was kind of
where are they at?
Yeah, they were hushed away. They were under investigation, and then
but they were hushed.
Subsequently cleared of all this stuff. That just went away and disappeared. The Department of Corrections cleared them. So it's just odd in some way that, that we look at this now and this is going to be brought up. I mean, you have to bring this up in some way, because I think the problem with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, which I did go to their defense when I said the other day, in regards of what the crook stuff was, I think their hands are tied when it comes to that. And that's why the information from crooks and all that stuff that was from a whistleblower went to Tucker Carlson on purpose, because he would have a larger platform to get the information out. And they look like they're being forced, being controlled not to say anything, while the FBI itself is self-immolating, imploding itself, because you don't believe anything that's coming out of it. And maybe that's intentional. I mean, maybe they're going through this intentionally to out all the people that are in the shadow of the FBI. Yes, I know this blows back on Kash Patel. It doesn't look good for him. It doesn't look good for Bongino in some way. But to say they've completely flipped in some way, and now they're, all of a sudden now they're covering up for this, they're covering up from that and stuff. I think they're being forced to cover up. I think they're being told to stand down on this. And while there's an exercise, so to speak, of demons that are happening inside the FBI, and let's just say they're monitoring all the stuff that's going on, they're not allowed to say it. It's being purposely hid back. And what if President Trump, who came out and said what? He said out twice, I'm the chief law enforcement officer, all right here in the United States. I say what goes. If I tell Pam Bondi to release it, she releases it. If I tell the Justice Department do this, if I tell the FBI do this, they listen to him. And I don't believe that Pam Bondi is controlling them. The Justice Department is controlling them. I think whoever's operating inside the shadows with President Trump or inside the gray are holding them back from doing whatever they're supposed to be doing. And a lot of this, let's just say, clean out is happening. I don't know about, I think it's a fair assessment what Mark Epstein is saying. He wasn't FBI director at the time. Chris Wray was. Bill Barr was there. So when you really say he hasn't seen any evidence, to say that they've seen any evidence or haven't seen any evidence that has been hidden away, well, it's no different from the Crook situation. 400 FBI employees went through digitally, electronically, they went through all this stuff trying to ascertain a digital footprint to find out any information regarding crooks, and they came back and they found nothing. And all of a sudden, a whistleblower with all this information comes out that Tucker Carlson released, blows that out of the water. So who's lying here? Why are they stonewalling? Why is it being covered up? I think they're being forced to cover it up. They're being forced to not say anything. And maybe the subordinates underneath, inside the FBI, there's a lot of partisan hatred towards President Trump. And, there's a deep dark inside of this black operation of the FBI. And maybe this is to out them simultaneously as it's being brought down. But yes, the blowback onto them, the deputy dog and him per se, it all goes back to the top. So can you explain this? Kash Patel put out on Friday night saying his explanation of why the crook stuff was this, and this is what they told me. So if Kash Patel is getting the information that was told to Chris Wray and Bill Barr, well, that he's just getting the same information. So Mark Epstein may be correct. He doesn't know. He hasn't seen any autopsy stuff, and it might be hidden away from them. They're only giving them a certain amount of, let's just say, point of view. Yeah, a point of view that here it is, that it's easier to say he was sued. Look, it's easier to say he was
unalived.
Well, you want to say that, okay, you want to say that he committed his own demise. Okay, let's put it that way. That he committed his own demise rather easily, and to say that, to suggest that in some way, to say that someone else did it intentionally.
No, I wasn't correct. I was just saying, don't say that SUI word. Yeah, I'm just.
No, I know what you're saying. I gotta watch my words. I know I gotta watch my words.
I agree with you saying that. I agree with the fact that he was attacked, right? Not the other way around,
right?
Yes,
right. I think Biden. I think the post-mortem investigation by Dr. Michael Biden, really says it all. And I believe him over what we've seen before? Yeah, that there's a possibility that hyoid bone didn't break from sheets hanging from a bed.
Right.
And I'll leave it at that.
Physical
so whatever
contact.
else that was, there
Physical
was a
contact from someone.
physical contact, just like you jumping off the roof and with the elbow on the body.
Yes. Well, we got Nathan Davis. He says here on YouTube, Bongino's goal is the same as ours. Tied hands will not be tied forever. David Rogers says Dan is frustrated. He's seen all the stuff from the inside looking out. Now he's looking outside, looking in his still powerless to do anything. There is that too.
Right.
Hands are tied, but will hands be tied
But
forever?
the question is, no one asks, is that why are they tied? I mean, if you want to presuppose the
let us
idea
know in the
that
chat.
this is outside
Comment.
their hands. Yeah.
Comment.
I firmly believe that it's outside their purview. I believe that whatever is going on, it's outside their purview, maybe even outside the Justice Department's purview. So if this comes from the top, who is the top other than that? The president, his team, special investigators? I don't know. Special operators that are working at this in some way? I don't know. But the information is being withheld for a reason. And it's not just the information about crooks. This was pushed to Tucker Carlson so a swath of a large audience on X, 50 million, whatever, can see this and understand the FBI, now it's in their hands and stuff. Now, is Bongino and Cash, I mean, everybody's calling for their heads to fire them. They're saying Bongino resign, Cash Patel will be fired next year and stuff. I don't buy that at all. I think we understand what's going on with Mr. Schaefer from Rift TV and what's going on with the girlfriend and all these other things. I think there's something else that is outside or extraordinary that is taking place, and we're not really seeing that per se. But since we don't have, let's just say, inside baseball knowledge and stuff, we got to look at it from our end, and from our end, it looks sketch. It looks sketch, and that's it.
I will say this, Nathan Davis is a great point. We have all been shown an extreme amount of patience. Patience is the lowest level we have seen. The big man knows this. Public opinion must be unilateral. We are getting closer. And possibly, I think that we are getting closer, but then I did see somebody say earlier that the majority of everything that would perhaps come out, and again, these are all opinions, will be redacted. Before we get into any of that, let's get into our sponsors, and that is Noble Gold Investments really quick. Let's go. As we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned, it's that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal, it isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people that they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing is for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season surrounded by family members, the best gift that you can give them isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers, peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Don't leave your future to chance. This holiday season, when you open a qualified account with Noble Gold Investments, you'll receive 10 1-ounce commemorative solid holiday coins, each beautifully designed with a jolly snowman and a warm season's greetings engraving. These limited edition silver coins make thoughtful gifts for friends and family, or a unique addition to your own collection. They're a joyful way to celebrate the season and invest in something real. And we're back. Thank you guys for your patience. Big shout out to Mikado16, back from the old days of YouTube. Mikado16 with 1,100 gold pills. Thank you so much. Great to have you aboard, Mikado. That is an old name. I'll never forget it. Tia, thank you for the cookie as well. Really do appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get into this because I know Brett wanted to speak on it for sure. We can cancel that one. and go into this. Let's listen to Mike Johnson on the files.
Significant number of Republicans will back it.
And how many Republicans do you expect to vote for this?
I think it'll be a large vote tally.
In the final hours, the president reversing course, telling Republicans to vote yes, insisting he would sign the bill if it reaches his desk.
Sure I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much because, honestly, I don't want to take it away from us.
But over the last several months, the president has repeatedly tried to stop this vote from happening. Speaker Johnson sending the House on
Remember, this is ABC News.
August recess early and keeping them out for weeks during the shutdown, which in turn stalled a vote. The president's top advisors working behind the scenes, even summoning Congresswoman Lauren Boebert to the White House to meet with the FBI director and the attorney general in the Situation Room.
These are friends that I work with. It's okay to have conversations. There was nothing. I felt no pressure.
You felt no pressure even in the Situation Room having that meeting?
Well, I don't know what the big deal is about the Situation Room.
But Boebert did not fold, and more Republicans are supporting the move.
Get it off the table. I mean, we've been debating this thing too long.
I've said all along I want the list out. Let's get it. Let's go.
Still some Republicans questioning why the president doesn't release the full files himself when he has the power to do so at any time.
If they're serious about it, they should release them right now. It's that simple.
Just a couple blocks away from the Capitol, survivors of Epstein's abuse holding a demonstration. Danny Bensky was just 17 when she met Epstein.
This is a moment of vulnerability. This is a moment, as you can see, when we are tapping into those youngest parts of ourselves and saying we're doing it for that little person that used to exist.
So this bill would force the release of all the files within 30 days. It's unclear how the Senate is going to handle this or if the president's investigations into Democrats could complicate the release. But you heard even there from Republicans saying that the president does not need a vote to release these files. He has the power to do so now by himself, George.
He sure does, Rich. He did it for Amelia Earhart. He did it for Martin Luther King. He did it for the Kennedy assassination files. He could do it here as well. What we're also seeing is Larry Summers, the former president of Harvard, the former Treasury Secretary, also caught up in this.
Yeah, he's facing pressure to back away from his public commitments, and he says that he will now do so. This comes after newly released documents show that he not just kept in close contact with Jeffrey Epstein, but even did so years after Epstein pleaded guilty to sex-related prostitution charges involving a minor. Summers, in a statement writing, "I'm deeply ashamed of my actions and recognize the pain they have caused. I take full responsibility for my misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein." Summers has not.
Okay, yeah, we get it. So that's out there, Brett, for sure. And yeah, you're absolutely right when it comes to this, as we can see here from the Daily Caller. Bada boom, bada bang. The House has voted to release the Epstein files. Republicans 214, Democrats 211. So they are going to release it. So there it is, in your face. NV. I'm not sure what NV. I guess not available. I don't know what that means. But one Republican said no. You said that was the gentleman from Tennessee,
Louisiana. Higgins. Clay Higgins.
Yeah, was saying no dice on this. So again, I know how you feel about it. I think a lot of people in the chat are saying that everything's just going to be redacted, and there's nothing that's going to take place.
This is all about getting them to vote, get their name on this to vote. All right, so they're all, let's just say, accountable. So let's see how the Senate. Right now we have 53-47 majority. Let's see how the senators vote on this. This is going to be interesting. What happens if it fails in the Senate? Then it's dead. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with senators who are tied with Epstein directly. How is that going to work out? I don't know how it's going to work out, but I think Mike Johnson is correct. There's a lot of stuff that they have seen that they know, that they probably can't release because it potentially leads to with some classified information and connecting to state actors or other things that were going on. I mean, why do you think they're investigating JP Morgan? That a subtext group of JP Morgan, after he was kicked out by the CEO, went and basically started working with Epstein to set up LLCs and all these fraudulent accounts so they can wire transfer, smurf money around all over the place. That was set up with 5 or 6 people that used to work or worked outside or off the books for JP Morgan. Why are they under investigation? So in some way, I think that, this connection with other state actors is pretty big. I mean, it's not going to die. It's not going to go away. But I think this is just a slow drip of this process as it pertaining to the women. If Gloria Allred's daughter, all right, wanted to get this information out, they would just allow the names to come out because they know the names, but they sign the NDAs. Why would that one woman who want to sit there and hold Marjorie Taylor Greene's coat, okay, why she reads off the names? It's because they all signed NDAs. They all got paid. Okay? A lot of this stuff is just all BS. I don't buy it. It's all theater. It's nothing much than a prop, a shiny object. Is it to put fear into people? Yeah, it is. I mean, again, you want to mention producers and Hollywood actors and all these different people, people in industry. Larry Summers is right there. Reid Hoffman, mentioned in the White House. He's the co-founder of LinkedIn. All these things are going to come out one way or another. The question is, how does it come out? And how do you separate the classified information that has not been redacted? Now, President Trump says, yeah, release it all and stuff, but we haven't heard that President Trump has signed off on declassifying what Mike Johnson is talking about. See, that's a separate thing. So what is Mike Johnson saying? All right, so President Trump wanted to do that. No, he's putting it in their hands. He wants to see what the Senate does. If the Senate gets this passed, goes back to the House, and then they'll move it forward President's desk. And then you'll see the 50,000 pages of all the Epstein stuff, whether it's redacted or not. That's it. And then where does it go from there? I don't know. Does it die? I don't know about you, but I'm sick of it. I think it's bigger than what he was doing with these underage girls. I think it's bigger than that, selling up. I think this is so much bigger. I think it's more towards the blackmail, extortion, honeypot, traps with all these different people. I mean, to say that Guthrie with Andrew and then Ehud Barak, and she talked about it in her diaries, and many other people, to blackmail high, powerful people, to get them on the books to do different things and change their opinions or whatever they were doing as leaders of industry or of countries and stuff, that is a separate thing. I don't really know where this is going to go and how this is going to fall. But I think if we move away from the sex stuff and really get into really the secrecy of what's going on, the real clandestine operation that was happening, then we can avoid all the pitfalls of saying, all right, he slept with this person, he slept with this person, he did this and stuff. Because I don't think I think those are already on the record. The FBI might already have that stuff from the lawsuits that were taking place. And if all these lawsuits were secretly handed out and were all paid out to all these individuals to a law firm or multiple law firms, that all those women in some way said, I was 14 when I worked for Epstein and I'm all trafficked. And now that it's all said and done, but I can't name names. Not one person who's asked any of those women, okay, out there why you can't name names. Not one person. And they'll say, oh, well, I'm in fear for my life. Well, if Epstein's dead, what are you in fear of? Who are you in fear of?
I don't think anyone's afraid of.
No, it's money.
Epstein.
They signed their side of the lawsuits. Well, not Epstein. It's not Epstein. It's basically if they're directly pointing to people that they had engaged in sexual acts in some way, or whether it was let's just say conditional. Did they agree upon this or what have you? I don't know. Were they raped? Were they tortured?
Raped.
I mean, there's a lot of things. You could say that, man. I say it all the time.
Can't say it on booze.
Yeah, I say
they don't like it. They don't like it.
Well, look,
I gotta stay safe.
You gotta have to separate all the stuff.
Yeah, no. I understand. Jason says they probably just blew through all that money. Yeah, I mean, probably.
They're looking for more. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, there is that for sure. We have a lot of good comments on YouTube right now. 47 said at the beginning he had no role of complicity in this. I bet you know who knows who is complicit in all of this. And that's for sure. We talked about that last week of maybe perhaps being an FBI informant. You remember talking about that, Brett. David Rogers says human trafficking. They don't want to utter those two words. And I can't say that word to that horror story, and I get that too as well. Adam Wright, otherwise there is no other way that they would have pushed this subject matter with any some gain at all. Someday we shall make it so free speech really means free speech. Change is slow but powerful. Yeah. I totally get it. Senor Polo, strike one, Thomas. Yeah, no, we're good. I just got to be super careful. We're not even monetized on BoozTube right now, but
that's when they'll be watching.
That's
when.
I don't want to risk it though. I don't want us to say anything nutso. Sean Joe, what's up, brother? With the can, appreciate that. Good to see you, man. And everybody else over there on Pilled. Yeah. So again, MGT erupts on Trump. I gave him loyalty for free. He called me a traitor. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has responded to Trump's latest comments, calling her a traitor. In a press conference outside the U.S. Capitol, while standing beside victims of Jeffrey Epstein, MTG stated she gave President Trump loyalty for years, and in return, he called her a traitor. As a response to Trump pulling his endorsement from her, she later noted she won her first primary without his endorsement. I don't know. We'll get into this. I love this post. It's chess, not checkers, MTG. And we talked about this last week. Last week we were talking about this. Is like, you can't take what President Trump says right off the rip. It is 5D chess. It is, getting people to look over here and to follow this narrative and then boom, you get hit with a sucker punch and you're like, oh my God, that's what he was doing the entire time. So again, just letting you know, it's not chess, or excuse me, it's chess, not checkers, MTG. Let's take a listen.
I want to make a proposition for Marjorie Taylor Greene because you've been an advocate for this. If you decide to read those names on the House floor for immunity, I will be more than happy. No security needed. I will stand beside you. I will hold your hand. I will hold your coat in solidarity with you. And on top of that, I did talk to Jayapal, who said she would be more than happy to read those names too on the floor with all of us. It's time that we put the political agendas and party affiliations to the side. This is a human issue. This is about children. There is no place in society for exploitation, sexual crimes, or exploitation of women in society. There's no room for it, guys. We're not having it. And to the President of the United States of America, who is not here today, I want to send a clear message to you. While I do understand that your position has changed on the Epstein Files, and I'm grateful that you have pledged to sign this bill, I can't help to be skeptical of what the agenda is. So, with that being said, I want to relay this message to you. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. You have put us through so much stress, the lockdowns, the halt of these procedures that were supposed to have happened 50 days ago. The Adelita Grijalva who waited to get sworn in and then get upset when your own party goes against you because what is being done is wrong. It's not right. For your own self-serving purposes, this is America. This is land of the free. Land of the free. In 1863, we have a woman on top of the Capitol building represent freedom. I do not feel free today. I don't know if the women behind me feel free today. So I am begging every member of Congress, every representative, to step up and choose the chaos. Choose the survivors. Choose the children. Protect the children. All children. You protect all of us equally. Thank you very much for your time.
There you go. Libs always need something to whine about. The Democrats had 12 years to bring this crap out, but never did. blah, blah, blah. Dude standing is the late Virginia Giuffre. That's her brother. Not My Name says, okay, thanks. Yeah. What do you guys think over there on BoozTube? What do you guys think over there on Rumble? Now that I watched that, I'm just kind of...
That was a clown show. That's all your clowns, your
seems
Democrat
like clowns.
talking points to hit President Trump. Let me go through it. If you decide to read the names, we could sit there and hold your coat. Why can't you read the names? Okay? Because you signed an NDA, you took the money like the whore you are. Stop. Enough. This whole thing is a sham. Gloria Orrid's daughter, who represents a lot of these people, tried to get one of these ladies or multiple to accuse President Trump up to $700,000 to extort him and say, he's in the Epstein Files. He sexually abused me. Stop with all this stuff. I am over this. They are all liars. I don't care what happened to them. Okay? This is all a scam now. This is why no one believes anything anymore. And then she says, not here. A clear message to Mr. Trump, to President Trump. I'm skeptical of your agenda that you put us through for 50 days. Wait a minute. It was the Democrats who shut the government down for 40 days and 40 nights. Okay? They did that, which had extended to another 5 days till they voted on it. Democrats doing a hit job here. I do not feel free. This is all an extension of all the you know what? Repeal the 19th Amendment. People like that, this is all bull. And I'm sick of it. This is what's dividing everybody on X. Be a unifier, don't be a divider. You want to be on there like Shipwreck and all these other people that are just dividing America first, America only. Don't wear that hat. I'm sick of it. It's all nonsense. This is part of the problem. I'm sick of these broads. Okay? I'm sick of all of them. I don't believe any of them. I don't care what happened to you. Okay? I don't. Because if you're not going to show us what your NDA that you signed off on and these things that happened to you that you got paid out from whom, okay, because you can't read the names anymore, quietly were brushed away. I don't want you here attacking President Trump because he did nothing to you. In fact, he forced the Democrats, using Marjorie Taylor Greene, to vote on this. That's why I also think this is kayfabe. I'm not necessarily bought into the idea or not that this is a real thing. It's just like an Elon Musk scenario. And I don't really care about MTG or Ro Khanna or Massey. They're not in my district anyway, all right? And it's less about them, about forcing the House and the Senate to vote on this and leave President Trump out of it. And when it comes to his desk, they'll sign off on it. But as the speaker said, there are certain things, avenues that we can't go down. So are they already putting the poison pills in the Senate? Because I know the Senate is going to go through this and say, okay, yeah, we'll do this, but we're going to add some stuff to it to make sure certain things don't come out. They might even say, redact all the names. So you can't be forced to release the names. And should those names be redacted on purpose that are accused of doing things because you're just going to slime them? And what happens if some of these people didn't do anything and they just had a connection to him? 6 degrees of separation. Are you going to slime them too? Again, unless they're investigations into the names of these people that are ongoing, that they actually can document from the FBI or whatever, the police or whatever it's been utilized to go after these people, that it's ongoing and stuff, well, yeah, then you have to quietly, push it aside. As Kash Patel says, it's an ongoing investigation, just like what happened with Charlie Kirk. It's an ongoing investigation. It's still ongoing. That's still ongoing. The Crooks thing is done. They did their job. They just didn't want to tell you what they uncovered. So in this scenario, I don't buy any of these broads. And I'm sick of what's going on X and dividing everybody. I'm sick of it. It's just this is nonsense at this point. I think this is a money grab too. And I'll just leave that at out.
Mud Rabbit says if these women are serious, they'd come out and say it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just putting that out there. Songbabe says you should get her on True Reporting. I have her phone number if you're interested. Yeah, if she would come on, that would be huge. True Reporting 1985 at Gmail. True TRU Reporting 1985 at Gmail. I'll listen to her. See what she has to say. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, but I'm just letting you guys know. And it says here from MJ Truth, I believe that the current public, in quote, fight between Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene is very similar to the early feud between Trump and Elon Musk, manufactured for effect. Yep. Sometimes you can just feel it when something feels so inorganic. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, the drama is being deliberately amplified to keep everyone's attention focused on the Republican Party while the Democrat Party continues to collapse and fade into irrelevance. It's called suffocation. It feels like Trump is intentionally creating public distance from certain things right now. This matches how many 17 drops have been described for years. The need for certain quote-unquote optics at key moments, where Trump appears to distance himself from even his most trusted people temporarily. You're watching the Trump/Elon feud dissolve right now, and it feels like the next one is beginning. Consider the timing. Suddenly, Trump does a complete 180 and says he'll release the Epstein Files because, in quote, he was, in quote, pressured into it. Give me a break, LOL. This was clearly an executed to plan. I've been saying it would get ugly, and it has. Remember when Trump publicly attacked Attorney General Jeff Sessions years ago and looked terrible at the time? In reality, in quote, the feud triggered a chain of major developments. Epstein's exposure, Crossfire Hurricane, revelations, etc. That only became clear later. It's the same playbook, a different chapter, and new characters. Or am I just completely wrong and now they hate each other's guts all of a sudden? A, it's kayfabe. B, none of it's real. Or C, insert your thoughts here. Let's listen.
By fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people whom we serve as representatives here in Congress demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein Files, but the real fight will happen after that.
So what do you think about, not what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, because we've kind of just done that, but what do you think about MJ Truth saying this? About saying that that he knew it would get ugly. And it has. And remember when Trump publicly attacked AG Jeff Sessions years ago and it looked terrible at the time? In reality, that feud triggered a chain of major developments. Epstein exposure, Crossfire Hurricane. Look at what took place between Trump and Elon Musk. And I know that you had ABH coming in. And that's what it's called, correct, Brett? Am I talking out of terms with that? ABH, right?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
When he was talking to the Sultans from
MBS. You mean
MBS? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk was there.
Yeah,
he was in the White House today. So it's just almost like things. If they were fighting like that, if we want to say A, B, or C,
what we did.
KFAB, nah, it's real, or insert thoughts here. We never thought that we would see Elon Musk back in the picture. I mean, not necessarily me. I didn't necessarily believe all of it. I will be honest with you. I think that Doge was canceled a little bit early. I think it should have kept going. And maybe there was some infighting. I don't know. But what do you think about this infighting? What do you think about what MJ Truth said is my initial question.
Well, the first 2 points that he's laying out, I think it's much more logical to suggest that it is choreographed and arranged and calculated. And again, are we being psyoped to death?
Okay, so if that is the truth, then you can't. Then if you think that, then we can't bash MTG for this.
No, I'm not. Like I said, I don't care about MTG whether she's being used as a puppet.
You're talking
or
about
porn.
the NDAs and the ladies behind her.
2 separate things. Move that away. Separate the broads that are over there that already got paid from Gloria Allred's daughter or whatever that, settled out. All right. And then you have MTG. I guess what is it? MT Truth or whatever his name is. Yeah. Whatever he's saying, whatever he's implying is that I think it's a variety of different things. It could be choreographed. It could be arranged and calculated. She could be used as a puppet or a pawn, and not even aware of it per se. I mean, this could be completely. That's the way I look at it. Either she's responsive, that she's aware that she's being used as a puppet or pawn, or she's completely gone off the reservation, as Trump has called her out, and then she's unaware of her situation and she's falling into the trap. I had said yesterday that 6 of the major, let's just say, things that Marjorie Taylor Greene was doing in regards to the stock options she was utilizing off of Nancy Pelosi, where she's made $700,000 since 2020. She came in at $700,000, and up until 2025, she's worth $25 million. And 6 of these stock options are regarding vaccines, all the things that she railed against. Okay. That she took money and she said, unbeknownst to her, that her actual stock portfolio is being utilized outside of her own gain, so to speak. But, the way you look at it, how she came in and she made all this money and that she's taking stocks from PG&E, all these different groups, energy, vaccines, all these different things that she railed against. So I'm not really sure what to make of her. I've always felt that she's a hypocrite and opportunist, but there are a lot of people that are hypocrites and opportunists in the actual, look, if they were all Captain Ahab and they all had a cannon on their chest, they'd be shooting it out there, okay? Going after the white whale. This is her white whale. She feels in some way this is going to catapult her to the next level, or at least it appears to be. And this titillation, this enchantment that we're going through is nothing more than a mass distraction, interference, and the hysteria that is behind these women that we're all supposed to feel, terrible about because they were abused at a young age, even though they took the money and signed NDAs, and now they can't say anything. And this is all it's about. So the question is she being used, like MG Truth is saying, is she being used, okay, unbeknownst to herself and not aware of it, self-aware because of a low EQ? Or is she purposely playing along, as it appears to be, just another bit actor filling a role like Elon Musk, per se, if we're all believing that? And what we're watching is the clown car show go through, and we're all sitting there just, we're eating it up and saying, oh my God. And this all is part of the division, of the separation between what's going on. So is it intentional or is it not? And that's something you got to think about. What is really behind this?
Well, Mud Rabbit says here is Trump needs to distance himself from, and quote, this list. The blowback is going to get messy. And I said, Mud Rabbit, messy in what way? Bad for Trump. And he said it can't appear that he has anything to do with it. People will follow their programming. It can be effectively used. I think MTG is serving her purpose personally. Whether good or bad may not be relevant just yet. Mud Rabbit, there will be threats and lawsuits of how this will get messy under Trump. And the other person was Nathan Davis. All of these folks on YouTube. And Alien Testosterone says, this is all smoke and mirrors as of right now.
Absolutely, it's smoke and mirrors.
Song Babe also says the show is for normies, not anons.
Bingo. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And it's also to divide and conquer. It's also to force people to draw the lines, to put us into pigeonholes and label us, designate us, classify us, separate us from
They've
MAGA,
done it so
MAGA Inc.,
many times before.
MAGA Inc., America First, America Only, Undeciders. It's just another one of those one single issue wedge issues that are trying to divide MAGA. This is just a single issue, again, that's trying to divide MAGA. Look, does anybody really understand what the Jeffrey Epstein, like, he's being touted as the biggest, largest trafficking organization outside of cartels. Think about Sinaloa. Think about, what's the other one? Sinaloa, Golfa, Zetas, okay? And the CDS and Zijing. These are the massive cartels that are working powerfully behind the scenes with transnational corporations that are operating in Venezuela, Colombia, Southern Hemisphere, Mexico. You think they're big? That Jeffrey Epstein was global, was bigger than it, or he was just running one of several things. All right, he was running an operation of a high-end clientele escort service to rich people, super rich people around the world, famous, whatever. And while he was doing that, he was what? Blackmailing them, extorting them for information and what have you. And then in exchange for money or anything else, and then wherever that information went, whether it was going to our government, the British government, the MI5, most likely, or Israel, one of those three, okay, were working in cahoots. Then he was operating what? He was operating prolifically with investments that were on the legit, okay, like Les Wexner and Victoria's Secrets and many other things to what? And model agencies and groups right now, so they can raise the money to do all these things and then smurf it and move it around. And so this operation was spreading and glowing. Now, I don't know how big the organization of what we say was just, there's girls all over here on the island, all these other things. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't know if we're ever going to see any of the stuff that took place on the island. Okay. I don't know if we're ever going to see that. All right. And to say that we're ever going to get a list that we've already seen list of people on the island, are any of these people going to be held accountable? Or how are you going to see this information come out in a court of law that these people will be what? Tried and convicted of something. I mean, we barely can arrest James Comey and get him in a court that a magistrate almost left him, got him out, that a federal judge had to say, no, we're gonna leave in the testimony now from the grand jury. I mean, do you really think you're going to go after these people in these courts, that a court of law on a prima facie level in D.C., Virginia, Maryland, New York, in some way, and get a conviction? Good luck. I don't think so. I think whatever's happening is happening either behind the scenes or not going to happen at all. And I think, unfortunately, whether it's exposed or not, is really going to end with that.
Before I get into the next post really quick, I want to say thank you again, Tia with the cookie, Paulie 9363 with the ship. Aren't the real victims Haitian orphans? Yeah, I mean, you got a point right there, Paulie, for sure. Thank you for the generous donation. Hogleg71, what's up, big doggy? Hope the golf swing's going well. It's been a little cold, but it's warming up. Hope you're back out there on the links. Thank you for the cookie and the can. Sean Joe with the can and the cookie, and Tia with the cookie. Thank you so much. You guys can also help out over there on YouTube with money sign stream donations 17. Hit that up. You can help out Brett Collins by going to buymeacoffee/WeAreRise. Follow the We Are Rise show on Twitter, or on X, on Rumble, and on Pilled. He is on there.
And YouTube.
And BoostTube, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock. 7:30, 7 o'clock?
7:30, and Sundays, yep. Yes.
And Sundays. Hit him up. Cat Turd comes out. Now, I know he's close with, I know he's been on the Triggered show with Don Jr. He comes out and says about Marjorie Taylor Greene, this piece of shit doesn't give a damn about the victims. It's all about herself. How many more millions can she continue to make in Congress and her Trump revenge tour? MTV's transformation into Liz Cheney is nearly complete. She's got all the talking points down, and she's playing the victim like a pro. Is that what we think? Is that what we believe? Let us know in the chat. all chats, Rumble, Pilled, and BoozTube. Let me know. I find that to be, a bit harsh, but, and if that comes out and he's over the target, then so be it. Not good. Not good at all. You brought this up earlier. I want to go ahead and get into this as well. But before we do so, let me go ahead and show some more love for Noble Gold. As we wrap up 2025, one thing's clear. Uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to, in quote, normal isn't a plan. It's a gamble. That's why Noble Gold Investments helps Americans protect what they've built with real gold and silver that hold value when everything else feels uncertain. So this holiday season, remember, the best gift that you can give your family is not under the tree. It's peace of mind. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. noblegoldinvestments.com. All right, let's take a listen.
Vines, a New York Post columnist. I mean, so why did we not get the full story from Biden's FBI?
This is on Thomas Crooks.
Look, I think that's a very good question, and it's one that I ask, and I think that all of America is asking. Certainly, Donald Trump is not satisfied with the answers that he's been getting, I understand, and those close to him. And Senator Ron Johnson has had to subpoena Donald Trump's FBI to get more information about the assassination attempt. So now we find out from a source that there is actually voluminous material that gives us an inkling about the trajectory that Thomas Crooks took to become a 20-year-old assassin. And it's not what the FBI had told us. You played Paul Abate, the then Deputy Director of the FBI, telling Congress just 2 weeks after the Butler assassination attempt, just one half of the story. He lied by omission because he left out the part of the story where Thomas Crooks flipped in January 2020. He went from being rabidly pro-Trump to being rabidly anti-Trump. And I'm not sure why Paul Abate wanted to mislead by omission.
Yeah, usually when people completely change their ideology, it's over the course of several years, sometimes several decades. It's usually not like on the drop of a dime. What's with the furry thing?
I don't know. Look, it's really a small amount that we can see, but it struck me because, of course, as you mentioned, Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, was involved with this furry community. He lived with it's someone who identified as furry. It's some sort of sexual fetish where you dress up as animals, or this deviant art site has sort of animals that are having sex but are humanized, and other weird stuff. You like... Thomas Crooks had this image that he'd posted of a very muscle-bound sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger type male body with a female face, with a female head on it. So I don't know, there seem to be a few different fetishes there, but he does describe himself as they, them as well. So that tells you that he is going through some sort of gender identity exploration at that time. You know, he's 15, 16, 17 years old. COVID had hit. Maybe that explains his change, but I think it's so radical. It's almost as if he's been de-radicalized by somebody and then re-radicalized in the opposite ideological direction.
You said by somebody. Do we know who this somebody is, or we haven't seen any evidence that there was a co-conspirator, have we?
Well, only that we've seen that he had a brush with a Norwegian neo-Nazi whose name was going by the name of Will Teppers, who is very violent, who encourages the sort of violent rhetoric that Crooks was using. And later on, our source has given us some comments that Teppers has made, that he was talked to, has had conversations with both Russian and American intelligence. He had something to do with Crooks, but we don't know really how much. I think it's up to the FBI to let us know.
And leaving it right there, and I think this hits the nail on the head, coming at us from Alien Testosterone. These are just useful idiots. I totally agree with that. I agree that they pick these people that are on SSRIs, that are not up to standards mentally, maybe from a foster home, maybe from an abusive home, bullied at school, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Useful idiots that are taken advantage of, and then it's either that or they never did any of it. So there's a huge gap right there. Either they are useful idiots or there were multiple people involved at Butler, involved at all these other places that when these, let's just say, attempts take place, you can't even point your finger in the right direction. Nobody knows. It's very odd. What are your thoughts on that, Brett? Useful idiot or no?
Well, two people make a conspiracy. So, I mean, the way I look at this situation with him is that the parents are suspect, being, let's just say, sociologists, psychologists, teachers,
Yes.
whatever, in the field of whatever they were, the house being professionally scrubbed, the IEDs that no one talks about. He obviously didn't put that together. Everything looks like it was staged. It was staged to make it look like he was the one. Whether he got on the roof and he was the one who was actually shot and killed, I don't know, in Butler, per se. I mean, we didn't see any pictures of that, per se.
Nope.
It was scrubbed on the roof, that you couldn't get on the roof because it was beveled. It was the whole roof was scrubbed, the DNA, all the stuff that I think Tucker really broke down. I mean, do we have any of that information? I personally think that the 480 investigators that looked at this in some way either covered this up, were forced to cover this up, hid this information from the higher ups, or it was plausible deniability. And then of course Dan Bongino and of course Kash Patel had to put out this information saying there's nothing there because it's probably bigger. Probably the phones, the Belgian phone, the German phone, those two things stand out. The connection was that. This obviously was an outside agency, state actor, thing. I mean, this definitely employed a lot of different people. The stand down order, as Abate, basically really lied to Congress about how he broke this down. Both Secret Service director and deputy director were terminated in some way because of their loosey-goosey attitude about not having enough Secret Service people there, utilizing DHS people to fill in that role position, which is fine and stuff, but they're not Secret Service agents. They're not designed to protect the president or a VIP in some matter. You send them off to like Iraq to guard or Afghanistan, embassy people. I mean, these people weren't trained in these types of things. As you watched during there, especially a lot of these females that were overweight with the ponytails that didn't look like they were doing. The whole thing looked staged. I go back to Mayorkas, the Homeland Secretary at the time. What did he know? When did he know it? How much information was coming down from the White House about what? Making the scarcity of this was systematically put in place by a multitude of people. All right.
Let me say this really quick. Going with the multitude of people, one of the things that really stands out to me is 100%. And I agree with you, Trump. One, I think they just make these people up. That is a heavy statement. And can also be real as well, because we do know from that footage from Tucker Carlson that these pictures of Thomas Crooks, these mug shots or whatever these pictures are, he's like 14 or 13 years old. He's so young. When supposedly he did this, he was 20 years old. But getting back to what I was talking about with the multitude of people and things going on, is the drone footage. Flying it. Oh, all of a sudden you can fly drones. Dude, I've been to a Trump rally, multiple Trump rallies, probably met some of you there. I remember the amount of security, even back in like 2000, I don't know, probably 2017, something like that, being around, and the amount of snipers, the amount of dogs, the amount of people on roofs, the amount of metal detectors that I had to walk through, all sorts of things were abundant and then all of a sudden you're able to fly drones. There's nothing going on. There's just this blockade of buildings that they don't even go out another 100 yards to protect said buildings that has the angle that anyone could see anybody on top of. It's just absolutely insane to think that this was just one person. There's no way, and who knows if that person was even real. You're muted.
Or multiple people that were on the ground that day that probably got away.
Sure.
I mean, I don't, we got to leave that out. Him flying around a drone, come on. All right. And that the drone operation from the Secret Service was temporarily shut down. It wasn't in use that day. All that stuff falls into the same category.
What is that called when they have the thing in? It's almost like it's like a beacon thing that shuts down all electronics that are up in the sky. It's a no-fly zone. And that was just not working that day. Give me a break. And it's the only rally that CNN covered. Let's not forget about that.
That Reid Hoffman spoke a lot on the news about that day. And he talked about pay attention that day. He had press gaggles that he was speaking about that day, like almost like he either paid for it or he was in the know of what was going to happen. It just seems very odd indeed that all these things happen on that day, what typically doesn't happen. And when President Trump goes to the RNC convention, he's surrounded by guys that are like 6'5", all right, that are jacked, Secret Service agents all over the place. And people were like, where were these people back then? Well, they were utilized to cover Dr. Jill and her husband when they were in Pennsylvania that day at some event.
Great.
Yeah, okay.
Another great comment. Jason says, rangefinder used. Feds called off to investigate a McDonald's.
Yeah.
How many things have we named? 8 things? 8 anomalies?
Yeah, the high strangeness that goes into this is there's clear. I mean, it's not just that. It's the same thing with what happened with Charlie Kirk. And I know there are people like, we're all going to eat crow because we all have our things, and it's really it's all going to come out that this kid did it. If you believe that, then I can't help you. You know what, dude? Then you might as well believe everything what MTG is saying. Believe the women. Believe the women, okay? Believe the women then, because that's where we're going with this stuff. There's too many things right now that are trying to separate us and divide us from what we can perceive that may or may not be true, all right? The only thing we can really, let's just say, surround ourselves with is the information of all the things that seem to be absent that day of Trump's shooting, all the things that Tucker Carlson has laid out. And it is curious in some way. I understand why they're going to take flack, Bongino and Kash Patel, because they're the top people. But you'd have to see in some way that their subordinates and underlings, all right, they found nothing, no evidence, and they come back and tell the top people that, hey, we came back with nothing, and all of a sudden this stuff comes out. It's just, who's lying here? Their hands are being held back. This information is being investigated. I still think maybe they're going through, this could implicate state actors, implicate agencies and other groups. It could implicate big people in a lot of ways, and we're just not there at that moment to release the information. And also, these people, I mean, there's so far no investigation outside of that we know of that they're going to tell us at this time. So, I mean, right now it's a moot discussion, right? I mean, it's very odd
right now. Yeah, it's moot.
When Kash Patel says, well, it's an ongoing investigation. Harmeet Dillon says an ongoing investigation.
What investigation?
Regarding civil rights, regarding what's going on with Tyler Robertson.
Tyler
Robertson. Yeah. I mean, it's ongoing. Wait a minute. I thought you have all the information you need. Well, now the furry thing comes up in some way. What is the connection there? Is there more people involved with that? Okay.
It's very weird. Yeah. The weirdness.
That's all we know. There's a lot of stuff that are still, that precipitates out there. And
I agree.
Does this really make Kash and Dan Bongino look bad? Yeah. They want to tell us, but for some reason they can't. And here we are at this moment, scratching their head saying, and I saw people, Dan should resign and stuff. I personally think he should resign next year. Okay. He doesn't need this. He doesn't. And I think it may be getting to him. Kash Patel is going to be there for 10 years. That's what FBI directors are elected for. All right. And he's allowed to fly that plane. It was mandated in 2011. So, whether you like it or not, he could zip on a plane and go to Tennessee to visit his girlfriend. Do you like the fact that tax dollars are going to protect her now? Well, she's under assault. I mean, people are threatening her life. She says she's a Mossad agent, a honeypot that people are claiming. And that's why she has to have a SWAT team guard her and protect her.
Yeah,
she can't
I saw
afford her
that.
own. I mean, do you want your tax dollars to go to protect this country music star if she is, per se? I don't know anything about her. I really don't. I thought they were engaged, by the way. But these are the oddities in some way. I mean, and you got the guy, Elijah Schaefer, or whatever, Eli Schaefer. He's dipping out. He's going back to El Salvador. He's on a flight right now. He goes on these flights now. He's being tracked. It's just some weird. There's so much weirdness. I don't know if we could put our finger on it about all these different things. And are they distractions in themselves, Thomas?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that they are distractions in themselves, and I think that goes back what we've been covering pretty much this whole entire episode 12. 12 shows back, folks. We talked about where's Tom Homan been? Well, he's back, Brett, and we can get into that right now. DHS confirms, and we talked about this. I don't know if you were on the show when I talked about it, but everybody knows out there that I do have a CDL. I do have hazmat. I do have tanker certificates on my license. I have not driven an 18-wheeler in years and years. I've been doing this. But those things are very hard to get. A lot of testing and all that kind of jazz. But again, we're seeing here from the Department of Homeland Security confirms at Fox News that ICE has arrested Uzbeki, an illegal alien wanted alleged terrorist who was driving an 18-wheeler in Kansas and has been given a CDL by the state of Pennsylvania. 31-year-old Akor Borov has made an arrest warrant in Uzbekistan since 2022 for being a member of a terrorist organization and is accused of distributing terrorist propaganda, calling for a jihad online and recruiting terrorists. Per the Department of Homeland Security, he was caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in February of 2023. ICE arrested him on November 9th while he was working as a commercial truck driver, Brett. He was granted work authorization by the Biden administration in January of 2024 and has a commercial driver's license that was issued by the state of Pennsylvania. This is absolutely crazy. There he is right there. Not only was Bozarov a wanted terrorist, he was released into the country by the Biden administration, but he was also given a commercial driver's license by Governor Shapiro's in Pennsylvania. This should go without saying. But terrorist illegal aliens should not be operating 18-wheelers on America's highways. Biden and Mayorkas allowed countless terrorists to come into our country, and President Trump and Secretary Noem unleashed ICE to target these national security threats. So that is taking place. I talked about that about 2 weeks ago, and when that came out, now we have Sean Duffy speaking about it right here. Let's take a listen to this. He was the one that brought it up. I carried the story on this channel. Let's go ahead. This is basically an update on this when it comes to everything taking place. CDL corruption exposed. This is not good, folks. By the way, if you're enjoying the show and you're still watching and you're having a good time and you're understanding all of this and finding this, interesting, please go ahead and hit that notification bell. Please hit the like button. I'll do it right now. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Hit that. Help us out with gold pills. You can follow Brett Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 7:30 of the We Are Rise show. Go ahead and do that. Lydia Sign-In says, we are the aliens. Pretty much. Let's take a listen. Oh, dear. There we go.
What is the plan?
Here we go.
Here to discuss is U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Mr. Secretary, you vowed to fight this. What is the plan?
So first off, you take a step back, and Joe Biden let in, 10, 15 million illegals into the country, gave them work permits.
More like 40.
Work authorization. And these folks went out and they got commercial driver's licenses. And they're on the road. You just showed a lot of the footage. People are dying. And we thought it was appropriate to protect Americans that we should have an emergency rule, not to go through the month-long process. We did that. The court has rolled us back and said, well, we're not quite sure this is an emergency. We want to see more data. And I'm like, watch the Ingram angle. Watch any show on television, and you see the risk to the American people. And so, again, we're working on the legal strategy right now, but we are not going to take this lying down. We are going to do all we can to protect the American people.
They're challenging you under something I believe called the Administrative Procedures Act, the APA, which all you law geeks out there know it's the most boring area of the law. But nevertheless, it's usually 90 days for notice and comment. Yep. You sped it up because of what we're seeing here. And there's a huge CDL scam going on that's really dangerous. One that was just busted in New York, Mr. Secretary. Prosecutors say that the sister of a former DMV supervisor would show up to the office in disguise as a man, in some occasions, to take the test for potential truck drivers between March 2023 and September 2023. The DMV employees allegedly charged between $1,500 and $3,000 for each test taken. Mr. Secretary, we've heard of this happening for the SAT, in some occasions, to take the test for potential truck drivers between March 2023 and September 2023. The DMV employees allegedly charged between $1,500 and $3,000 for each test taken.
Do you understand how corrupt that is? We always talk about how the post office is corrupt. Think about the DMV right now, that they were taking the tests for known terrorists, getting paid $3,000 to be like, no, you're good. Go ahead and drive this. And if you want to, you could go over there and park it over there on the Hoover Dam and just blow it to smithereens. Go ahead and do that. Oh, by the way, you could also park it out in front of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Why don't you go ahead and do that? In front of a daycare, in front of anything. Imagine that, Brett. These people were being paid for each test.
I believe a lot of the people at DMV are no different from the post office. They're all liberal partisan progressives and stuff. I know when I had my license, I had to get when I was still living down in South Palm Beach, and my license came up. I had to go back there and go in there to get my license again that expired. I had to go in there and go through this whole process. They're looking at your eyes, they're checking your height, your weight, all this stuff, comparing your license and then update it. And then when they go through, what are you registered as? I go, I'm a Republican, and they go right at you and they give you that look. And I'm like, and it's that stare for like a second or two. Yeah. You could tell a lot of them and I believe whether they're greasing the skids or, allowing these people to get these licenses in some way to do a lot of different things, paying them on the back end, inside jobs in a lot of way. I think the whole thing in itself needs to be inspected and looked at, especially in the blue city state fiefdoms, okay, where there's no control. I mean, you got god-awful mayors, communist and social mayors all over the place. You have terrible governors. So these things need to be looked at very carefully. So I think in some way, it's not that we're just finding out that people inside the DMV are getting paid on the side to allow illegals go in to get these licenses in some way. There's a coordinated effort by members of the Department of Motor Vehicle and the transportation that is Duffy is saying all over the place. There is something that is going on. What are these people transporting all over the place? What are they doing? Are they set up there to just cause havoc and chaos?
Think about a chemical weapon.
I'm thinking about transport of a lot of different things.
And this is New York City.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that comes. I start to see a lot of this stuff going off left and right. And yeah, it should be alarm bells. Okay. The fact that this Uzbekistan terrorist was on a watch list and he was allowed to come in this country. Think about all the people that are coming in through LLCs. You got Iranians, you got Hezbollah. I was reading what I was discussing yesterday about the island of Margarita off of the coast of Venezuela, that basically Hezbollah is basically inhabiting and training the cartels throughout. And these cartels are operating throughout the through inside and up through the United States, through Mexico, and what have you. So you have these types of conditions that are all over the place, and they're buying up property. You're hearing right now in Texas, what is it, 48 mosques that went up? We have a problem right here in Tampa with a lot of mosques, like like mosques are going up left and right. Are they going up as realistic, let's just say, institutions of religion? Are they going up as, let's just say, scenarios and operations for something sketch? These are the things you got to keep in mind on. I'm sure our government is monitoring it, especially where there are bases. And look at all these states where there are bases. We have MacDill here, which is the forward is the, what is it, the Northern Command? Is it the Northern or Southern Command? It's one of those, the Central Command. So, you know, and you have these, you know, mosques that are opening up all over the place that are allowed to do so. I wonder if there's a lot of monitoring going on by our federal actors that are, you know, supposedly doing their job. This stuff right now, the states should be monitoring it. But I have no faith in a lot of these city-state fiefdoms that are blue. I really don't. I think there's no control. It's out of control. It's very scary. I mean, we don't even know how many people have been given these licenses that are all over the place to transport what you were suggesting through these CDLs. It's pretty bad. They're arresting them in Florida. They're coming from California, which we're finding out more and more every day.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And I got something for you that we talked about last week when we were talking about President Trump and bringing in more Indians with these what are they called, Brett? The B-1
H-1B visas.
H-1B
or we call them
visas.
in Florida HB1 Byrons.
Yes, and you know, a lot of people, you know, are like, man, you know, it's you know, these are good people coming here. I got a video for you that'll change your mind on that. But again, let's go ahead and stay on this really quick when it comes to the DMV.
Mr. Secretary, you know, we've heard of this happening for the SAT, the LSAT, the GRE, where people take each other's tests for them. Now we have semi-tractor trailers on the roads, killing people. People who can't read English, can't speak English, don't know the rules of the road.
So I think that's a small sliver of the pie. I think you have CDL mills, these private businesses that are allowing people to get commercial driver's licenses without having the requisite skill set to actually get on. I mean, they can drive school buses. They can drive oil tankers on our roadways.
Think about this.
They don't know what they're doing, but they're being pushed forward by these CDL mills. On top of that, Lori, you're supposed to be able to speak English in America. You have to be proficient in the English language. A lot of these people can't even speak the language.
Why are some of them, excuse me, from the Punjabi area of India? We know, and we've been reading and researching in this, there seems to be one area of India that really provides most of these new CDL commercial truck drivers licenses, but it's a real industry from India to the United States.
And I don't know why that's happening and where it's coming from, but
happens sometimes.
But this is not part of the lawsuit. But there's also another consequence. These are great American-paying jobs, great American companies that
They're
go
not
back
going to
50
American
years.
drivers anymore.
They're not going to American drivers. The rates are coming down for truckers. You can't sustain yourself. You can't make a living as an American truck driver because Joe Biden let a flood of these foreigners come into the country and now compete against the American worker. And so, again, that's not part of the lawsuit, but that's a real consequence of what the Biden administration has done. And, again, longstanding trucking companies going out of business.
And we'll leave it right there. But, again, and you're absolutely right. It's very funny. Jacob says, soon all will hear the call to prayer 5 times a day, but no bells awaken people. Yes, all these folks from India. Why is it always India? And you could talk about this right here. I mean, these are brilliant people. They're smart people. They do stuff like this.
So much shit. That's me at a poop-throwing festival in India, where the villagers spend 6 months collecting cow poop and celebrate the end of Diwali by throwing it at each other and rubbing it on their skin. I'm sinking! I'm sinking! I'm gonna die today! I'm touched! I am the one who shits! And this is the story of how, after immersing myself into this unusual tradition, I was doxxed, harassed, and threatened by tens of thousands of Indians who weren't happy with me filming this village's holiest tradition.
Our god, the Vireshwara Swami, is born from this cow dung.
Poop throwing. Folks, what are we doing? That's real. And this is a 54-minute video of that.
I wonder why they need so much ivermectin.
They're throwing cow shit at each other. Yes, and
Freaking
I know
gross.
cows are holy in India, but my God, can we do something about this? This is unbelievable. My goodness. I will drop the link. I just wanted to show you a clip of that. They're sending their best. They're sending their best.
I'm looking forward to that Ohio primary. I wonder if Vivek's going to lose that, because there's multiple people going to run for the Republican ticket. I mean, I know President Trump supported him, just like he supports Byron Donalds. I don't think Byron Donalds is going to become the next governor of Florida. I just don't. I don't see it. The H-1B visa is such a big thing right now that the pushback is great. I think even if President Trump is correct in some way with the chips and all these other things coming in, that we need more qualified people or training programs to set up in some way to get people more educated for sustainability of a future scenario. But while a lot of people run around and say, we're not educated enough, we don't have the qualifications, this is a wedge thing. Again, another single issue that is out there. You see Governor DeSantis pushing back about that because he knows that's a stalking horse. That's a wedge issue for the 2026 election if his wife is going to run for governor. So these are the things that are impending all over the place. Again, look at it for what it is. I mean, President Trump is, for it. To a certain or lesser extent. The State Department has pulled back some of them right now. I don't know what the crescendo is going to lead to, whether they pull it or not. But, a lot of these companies that are coming in next year are going to bring their own people or are going to bring skilled labor that's going to fit these technology companies that are manufacturing companies. They're going to come in right away. Is there going to be people pissed off about it? Yeah. There's still people pissed off about it. They don't like the fact that Vivek said Ohioans or Americans are lazy and stupid to an extent. I mean, in some way, you don't want that as a future governor saying that. I mean, that's why I think he's going to have a hard time. If one of us are saying it in some way, the way we, let's just say, look at the landscape, I think we can get away with saying it as an American. But he had failed companies. Didn't he have a diabetes company or some company that failed that he got medical research for and he made his wealth off of? So there's a lot of things about how he speaks in some way and versus how we speak.
He basically made billions and then stepped away from the company.
Right. And then calls us fat, lazy, and stupid. And I think that's embarrassing. So there's a lot of animosity for Indian people, and the pushback is growing. And I think this H-1B visa thing will cripple Republican candidates all across the board if they're going to take this mantra up. It's something they're going to have to reevaluate, walk away from. It's going to be utilized and tied to as campaign things. And I think, unfortunately, people are just like, I'm not going to vote for this person. So if the primary doesn't get you, and if there's primary candidates in there, watch for those people, because I think that's where the pushback goes. Again, another wedge issue that is dividing MAGA in some way, because President Trump is for H-1B visas to a greater or lesser extent because he's for skilled workers. But I think also he's not really reading the room per se, or unless he understands it and he's allowing this argument to continue on for some reason and a later date because he lives in the gray. He's not objective in binary conversations. He's flexible and reflexive, that his position changes all the time. So that's what I'm saying. This Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, Elon Musk, all this other stuff is neither here or there about that. So that's something to keep in mind down the line.
Let's go back into this. I had to pause this, but Tom Homan's back. We spoke about him on Thursday, Brett. We're like, yeah, where is he? Well, he steps back in and he's talking about New York City. Let's take a listen.
But New York City, I plan on being in New York City in the near future. We're going to do operations in New York City. We know in New York City, me and Mayor Adams at one point had an agreement to let ICE into Rikers Island so we can arrest the public safety threats and the safety and security of that facility. but the city council shut it down. So we're going to be coming to New York City. We're already there now. I mean, teams are there now. But we will increase the enforcement presence in New York City, again, because they're a sanctuary city, and we know we have an issue there with public safety threats sitting in the street every day.
With that answer.
But
so it looks like in the near future, Tom Homan says he's going to go out and start visiting New York City. We already have teams there. Eventually, you're going to start seeing more and more agents there because it's a sanctuary city. Should it have already been done with a lot more manpower? Yeah, I agree. Do we have the manpower? I don't know about that as of right now when it comes to ICE. Your thoughts on that, Brett? We talked about it last Thursday.
Well, what's concerning about what I saw about Charlotte, out of the 900,000 residents, about 100,000 plus are illegals. That's very disconcerting. And 21,000, 22,000 didn't show up for school in the district where ICE was floating around. That's problematic in itself. So while the resources are being pulled off in certain areas and then increased in other areas per se, like Portland, maybe Chicago, New York is next in some way. I don't like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes that we don't see. And just like Tom Homan comes out as the czar in some way, I also think, and I'm suggesting, just like what Bill O'Reilly said, we need an economic czar and stuff. I mean, we need more people to come out and talk about the economy 24/7. I agree. Now, I know that they're going to pick somebody coming up very soon to lead the Fed to replace Powell and stuff. But I want to see an economic savant. I don't want to see, what's his name, Dr. Peter. I don't want to see him. I want to see somebody that can break down what's going on a daily basis right now. Tampa right now is leading the way with foreclosures. I think we're going to have a chain of events in Florida as well as other places. You're going to see a collapse of that. I'm not necessarily saying just watch the market, because the market is relatively tied to real estate in some way. Prices are coming down, but when J.D. Vance says we need to build at least 5 million homes, where are we going to build these homes at? There's a lot of places we need to start building. But the idea that we have to get rid of these people first, and while simultaneously building this up because they're taking over occupancy and taking over rent, condos and stuff, there's a lot of things that are going on that we're still feeling the pressure for. Now, the numbers are down. They are. We're starting to feel it. I think by sometime in December, before Christmas, you'll really see the numbers come down with pricing. So all the people that are using this as a wedge issue, the pricing has come down in a lot of ways. Gas is coming down, no doubt about it. You go to different places, you could see the gas prices being affected. But, the argument is about what Homan is saying. Why weren't they there before? Are they setting this up for Mandami, who's coming in on January 1st?
Interesting.
Madami's coming to the White House very soon. What are they going to talk about? A lot of people are freaking out, like you saw Floricio, that how much of a power does he really have? It's to raise taxes. I mean, you got to really think about Governor Hochul right now, in response to Mandami being, let's say, elected at this moment, might raise the corporate tax. Now, that will affect corporate businesses overall, and then thus they will flee on top of it. So now you'll have not new places coming in because the taxes are going to be elevated because a lot of people have fled. The corporate tax is going to be raised. And so people will start shopping around where they can move out of these areas like they did in California to Texas, to Arizona, or to Florida in some way. So New York is going to face an avalanche of a lot of different decisions and stuff. I'm not necessarily sure people are going to dip out because if it's going to be cost effective in some way. And you're outside the areas like Floricio and Westchester and Nyack, New City, Pearl River. I know those areas. I lived in Pearl River. All those areas outside of that, how are you going to be disaffected or affected? I think you'll be disaffected. But if you have to come into the city and you own businesses, what are the prices of our crossing over the bridges, George Washington and all the other bridges? Are they going to increase? So the transportation and everything else. So yeah, you should be concerned in some way. You have a socialist coming in, but what real power is he going to have? I mean, the idea that I really think that if he's sworn in before this, and they don't go after him for being an illegal or coming in here illegally and being utilized in some manner to brisk his way in, I think you're going to have people like the police department stand down. You got many people either resign, step down, take early retirement, and there goes the crime rate through the roof. So are they buffering for this? Are we going to see the eventual collapse in that manner? It's possible.
Florencio came back and said it's more about the safety, and no one would want to visit New York City and it feels safe. So businesses will suffer. Yeah. And that's
because you'll have less police there patrolling the areas, and there'll be probably, let's just say, a thumb on them. I know that he's keeping the commissioner for the time being, but also look at him in some way. I believe that he's another plan, another actor put on stage in some way to help destroy the Democrat Party. Think about it. He's a communist, all right? Jihadist in some way. What better person to get Chuck Schumer, AOC, Hochul, the governor, many people to support this guy, Bernie Sanders. And so you can really full on see how, let's just say, how garbage the Democrat Party is. It is no longer what it exists. It's a socialist party, a communist party. And I believe he brings in, I think, thereafter, leaves that trail from hell, like the pale horse, so to speak, what follows him is death. And that's what I look at Mandami. He is that pale horse because the trail of death that's going to follow him in destruction because everybody's jumped on it. 54% of all these women up until 30 voted, 84% of these young women voted for this guy. It's insane. It's insane that they have no idea what they think they're going to get free stuff. All these people think they're going to get free stuff. They have another thing coming from them, all right? When the cost of getting a soda or a beer is going to be, it's going to be like going to a ball game. $50 for a hot dog, $30 for you. When you see the inflationary prices come inside the city, look out. That's when people are going to start to freak out.
I agree. I'm just showing everybody this really quick and great point spread. I just want to say that if you want to go and grab some merch, go ahead and do so. We have the trucker hats. We have the polo. We have the cotton hoodie. We have T-shirts. We have the crew neck. It's cold out there. It's going to get colder. Grab those if you want to. I will go ahead and drop that link right now. Mods, please do that as well. Dropping right now. I want to thank everybody for helping out, everybody tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Let me go ahead and release the gold pills to everyone out there. Man, 15,000 gold pills. That's what I'm talking about. Big shout out to everybody that helped out. And that goes to Florencio with 10,000 gold pills. Paulie with 1.6 thousand gold pills. Mikado 16 with 1.1 thousand gold pills. We thank you all so very, very much. We really do appreciate it. And listen, I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Follow Brett Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday at 7:30 on the We Are Rise Show, on Twitter, on Rumble, on Pilled, and on YouTube. Big shout out to everybody. The gold pills have been released. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it, brother. Salute to everybody out there. See you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Peace.